Have you ever traveled through time? We do it every day.
Asgardia is a country with a population of more than 1 million people from more than 200 countries on Earth. Asgardia gives everyone equal opportunities, no matter what their earthly status is.
It is possible to create and live in the future right now. Are you ready? Forward progress is the solution to the entire human race. Our mission is to bridge new horizons. In Asgardia, there is no limit to the universal development in the fields of technology, finance, and arts. Asgardia is a new space and digital economy which creates opportunities for the global economy. We deliver innovations. Do you want to get on board with us? We are developing various kinds of digital businesses, attracting them to the Asgardia platform that can be backed by the means of our umbrella, i.e. franchising of the Asgardia brand. We can not only attract investments into space programs from prominent institutional investors, but also affordable amounts from the citizens of Asgardia. We comprise of more than 1 million people.
Asgardia is a chance to realize one's dream. This is a dream-driven space nation. Asgardia is a chance to belong to a community of free-thinking enthusiasts, goal-driven dreamers, and fearless innovators, theorists, and scientists.
We are the first space nation. One humanity, one unity.
Asgardia.
We are creating
The future.
In the future could happen. The sun is inside the house. Transparent.
Always the sun is there.
Stay up. He gotta stay up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chairman Levitt is coming now.
Yes, there he is.
But
Hi,
Hey.
greetings all. Welcome. I think we are live. Let's check.
Yes,
I'm
we
are
are.
alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive.
I'm
Live.
alive also.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah, the hard work-
Congratulations, Chairman Lambert. The interview was amazing.
Oh, you saw it. Oh, thank you. I will let you report on that then. I was pleased with it. Yes. So before we go there, let's start as usual. Thank you very much. I'm Len Bitopic. I'm the Chair of Parliament of Asgardia, the world's first space nation. And I welcome you to our informal weekly meeting, which usually takes between 25 minutes and 40 minutes, sometimes less, where we discuss what's happening and look to the future, as well as celebrating things which have been taking place. I always start with some announcements. Then I ask Peter Morn, the Deputy Chair of the Parliament, to make his announcements. And then we move to a discussion. There's no time limit on it, but we are usually very efficient. And so I don't expect this will take very long. We also had an Asgardia Legislative Forum, which is another informal event which takes half a day last weekend. So I think that we are in a good place to have a fairly efficient meeting. So 4 matters. 4 matters for you. First of all, the digital sitting is taking place 6, 7, 8 December. Thank you to everyone who is involved in legislation. I'll talk about the process on that as my second point in a moment. But we start at 1700 on December the 6th, 2024. And then on day 2, 1300, and day 3, 1500. Those are the times that we'll be doing. The first day is announcements mainly, usually quite quick. The second day will be the legislation, government tower, and other reports of a large scale nature. Day 3 will be mainly about forward planning and committee work. Once again, I would ask the committee chairs to make sure I have a report from each of them in terms of how those committees have been operating, what they have been doing. I've got some work to do, which I'll come to as my third point. Right, next. Just for those who want to know this, and I'm really saying this to chairs and to myself and for the record, the process for legislation requires the chair of the chair of the Justice Committee and the Minister for Justice to talk and communicate about the content of the legislation. I've identified that there's been a slight missing link in that process. I'm glad to say now that link has been resolved. From now on, Peter Morn will automatically contact Mark Beer, the Minister for Justice, so that process will be managed by those two. Then they feed back into the system. Obviously, the Minister for Justice has an advisory role, and therefore it's appropriate for the Minister of Justice to feed into the position, the Minister of Justice to feed into the legislative process through the Chair of Justice, who is a Member of Parliament. It sounds complicated, but it simply means if you are running a piece of legislation, if you're responsible for a piece, send it to me, and then this will all happen. And then Peter will deal with Mark, Mark will deal with Peter, and it comes back in. So you don't have to do anything really differently. All you have to do is make sure that you pass legislation in the best form possible. I make small changes, often and usually just on formatting. So Ria Dell has had 2 pieces of legislation I sent her earlier on today, just about an hour ago, which then she will modify a bit, send to me, and it'll also go to Peter, and everything happens fine. It sounds complicated, but it's really quite straightforward. All you have to do as a Member of Parliament is send the legislation in the best form you can to me, and then the rest will happen. Thirdly, Corner, I haven't checked if Corner's with us, but Corner's legislation, I've now been thinking, based on what we've been discussing, Corner's legislation, which is a fantastic piece of work, I'll send that to Peter, and then Peter and Mark can consider what I'm proposing is that we break into 3 parts. Because it's such a big piece of legislation, I think it meaningfully could be broken into 3 parts. And so, Peter, I will send that to you after this meeting, and then you can see what you think. So after this meeting, you will receive it, and then you and Mark as a second priority. But it is important because I want to discuss it at the next digital sitting as well, but not for vote. So the second priority is to see if you can work on that. Happy to have a 3-way meeting if you want that as well, with you too, and also of course with Corner. So Justice, me and Corner, that would be very helpful, and anyone else Corner wants there as well. Next point. The year is getting close to the end, and we've had a very good set of results, but we still need to do more in terms of promoting Asgardia to the world. And I think that I and everybody else here needs to improve our throughput in terms of the work that we do with contacting the media. We get a lot of interest, and I hope that I might be able to find this guest speaker for this digital sitting, and that could be newsworthy as well, but we'll see. My request is please, please, please use the documents and the information and the news stories that we have and share them with regional or national papers in your area. And if they want interviews, give them interviews. If they want to speak to me, let them know that as well, that I'm happy to help. And finally, it's what Ariadne said. I did an interview, which I'll let Ariadne talk about in just a moment. And I really enjoyed it. It's exactly the kind of thing we should be doing to promote Asgardia. So well done to Dan Profair and everybody involved. And well, congratulations for Ariadne for watching. Those are my 4 points. Let me now go to Peter Morn for a report from the Chairs Committee, and then we'll go to Ariadne to tell us what she thought of the podcast. So Peter Morn, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Lambert. Yeah, we had our Chairs of Committees meeting just an hour or so ago, and we had the usual enthusiasm from some of our chairs, although we got rather involved in discussing the procedural aspects of legislation that you've just touched on, Lembit, and the question of getting the legislation to Mark Beer, my minister, so that he can then feed back through me to you and thereby to Parliament. So we talked about the procedure, discussed some of the constitutional implications, but I think we're happy that this is what we will now do, even though Mark isn't a member of Parliament, but his skills are such that he's incredibly valuable to us. And the only problem is going to be finding enough time for him, because he's a very, very, very busy lawyer in England. But we'll be able to do that. So we talked about the procedural issues, and also talked about the prospect of the new calendar, which Dr. Sarah is producing and needing to be translated into all of our principal languages. And that sounds very, very interesting. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be very happy giving away copies of that calendar to my friends and relatives at Christmas time, because it's wonderful. And it advertises Asgardia, and it advertises what's happening in the year and keeps you right. So it's a useful tool, and it's also a great marketing tool for Asgardia. And that was pretty much all we talked about. It is exciting. Sarah comes up with some great ideas, and it is exciting. And basically, we're all pulling together to get legislation through for the next digital sitting. And that's pretty much it. So thank you very much, Chair. Back to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Peter. Let's go to Ariadne next. You saw the interview. Why don't you share that with colleagues? What did you see?
Oh, well, wait a minute, please. Here is. All right, you can see this is Lembit with Dan Profir. This is the Spanish translation that the video says, and the transcription to Spanish. I hope when the people go to the page and want to translate to other languages, can put that all the things that Lembit says is here in blue. Okay. And it's so relevant because all the pieces of highway to space I reply like that. But the most interesting is to understand what happens with Asgardia in the words of the people that working for Asgardia. And I think it's so relevant. It's very important, this video and the other ones. If you want to the page, and maybe you can translate if you want it, because it has a tool there. But it's the only thing that I want to say today, to spread my congratulations to Chairman Lembit, because one thing is putting the video in TV. Okay, if all the people that understand perfectly the English don't have any trouble to understand it. But if we are 12 official languages in Asgardia, if we can put into the highway another way to connect with the people, I think it's good. I hope it will be useful for all of us, this translation, the transcription of all the words that they said. All words are the tools for building the future in Asgardia. And the builder, the next Tuesday, was Lembit Lopik. Congratulations for him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate your kind words. I have not watched it yet, but I was there, and it was filmed exactly where I am now. It's filmed here in my studio, and it looks quite good. I'm quite pleased, actually. So thank you.
The production was amazing, because you are in London, and I don't know. but you are not in the same place. But the construction of the backstage appears you are with Minister Profit in the same place. I
Oh,
don't know.
I can tell you, he was physically here. Dan Profair
Okay.
made the journey here to my place here in London, and he was sitting right next to me here in this very space. So yes, he actually made the trip to where I am, and that's why it looks real, because it is real. And
Wow.
yes, that's how dedicated he is. I'm actually going to ask for him to. I'm going to ask for him to um, uh, maybe make a talk to us about this whole business when we about his podcast in the next couple of weeks, but certainly this year. But he can tell you how the process is, and yeah, I'm very pleased to say this is where it happened, actually in this very room. So that's good news. So thank you for watching it, and oftentimes the situation is different. Oftentimes he will do this online, but we decided to try to do it one-to-one, and that's what we did this time.
Yes, what was amazing.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah,
Thank you.
I've got good lighting. This is a professional studio, and we decided to use it. Very good acoustics in here as well. And he brought his equipment. He brought a camera crew here as well. So it was a great experience. He's a real professional. And action step, Aliona, please make a note. We will ask, and Rebecca, let's ask Dan Profair if he's willing to come and give a talk here to us here, not physically in my place, here in our question and answer session. And thank you for watching. And John, you're next.
Yes, well, I wanted to say that I watched too. I thought it was very good. I really liked the content, which y'all talked about, especially the answers. It looked very professional, top notch. I hope it gets shared a lot. Everybody that's on this call here right now needs to go in and watch it if you haven't. Share it. Because it really does dive into some good topics. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
What did you like about it?
Well, I like the fact that it was in a studio, because that gives it a little bit more professionalism, and I like the topics that you all were discussing. Yeah. I can't remember. I can't elaborate on either one topic right this minute, but I do remember enjoying listening.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, yeah. It kept my attention. Let's just put it that way.
Well, that's quite an achievement. That's great news.
Yeah, it is. It is, because normally I won't stay but 2 or 3 minutes on a video, and I'm off of it. Because I done figured out everything that the two people are going to say. I don't need to listen to the rest of it. But yours, I really had to stay engaged with the video in order to get everything out of it. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. Very good news. Thank you, John. I certainly enjoyed the process. I like Dan, and I always like physically meeting colleagues here. And I've been lucky probably to meet more colleagues than anybody else, because I've traveled more than anyone else for Asgardia in this parliament. So always happy to do it. I've been to Colorado Springs, Dallas, Istanbul, and so on. And our paths cross quite often, and it's great to see that. I wonder if I'm not sure if Sarah is available, but if Sarah could just share, you mentioned the calendar. Sarah might want to share something about what your project is again. I know you have mentioned it before, but I would like very much to see if you can share it again.
I'd be happy to.
Go ahead.
I'm a very tactile person, and I love planners, and I was looking for a planner for this coming year, and just decided I really wanted an Asgardian, like a hard copy of as an Asgardian, like, daily and monthly planner. So I took it upon myself to just basically create a journal and a planner for 2025, which is 00009. And while I can design it and I have like a vision, I can't actually do it. So there's a wonderful gentleman in Morocco who is helping me put it all together with the idea that we could create one for each year. Granted, it doesn't, obviously it doesn't change much as far as the Asgardia calendar is concerned. The Gregorian calendar does change, but it's just, as we move into the future and as we move forward with Asgardia, I would really just like a record of, what we have done and, not only where I've been, but where we're going. And so the hope is to create these, each year moving forward, like, 09, 10, 11, 12, not only just to spread the word about Asgardia, because our calendar, for those of you who aren't familiar, like our calendar is brilliant, and it makes perfect sense. And I wish the Gregorian calendar was as systematic and simple, but I would just really, like something to mark my time here in Asgardia. So it's being finished and formatted in English. I think I have the translators that I need to translate the calendar both digitally and in print copy into all of our cardinal languages. My hope is, and I need to speak with Ria, my hope is that the digital copy can be available via Starshop. The actual hard copy will be available via Kindle digital printing, because that way literally the calendars will be printed when you ordered it, and then they can ship anywhere in the world. So very excited. Please, look for it. And I would love feedback, because again, this is something that I would like to do every year for my fellow Asgardians. So that's the calendar.
Thank you for doing that. It's great, really exciting. There is a calendar of a different type, which I was showing earlier on, which is not quite the same thing, but it was very popular. And here it is. Here's what it looks like. But I think the one that Sarah's doing is a great development, and we're hoping to get that translated as well. So that's really good. So thank you. It's really good news. Any questions? No, and it's great. And I'll call you. I've got one more meeting after this, but I'll call you later on in probably about 2 hours or so, and then we can talk about the rest of the details that you were asking about in your message.
Perfect. Thank you.
The deadline for the committee reports is next Thursday, by the way. I need to have that next Thursday. Please don't forget. I'm always chasing. I mean, I'm guilty of this myself sometimes, but the deadline is next Thursday for your committee reports, please. It's only 2.5 weeks to our next final digital sitting of the year. Right. Any other points or questions people have before I look ahead? I have 3 points to look ahead. Ariadne.
Please let me know, Chairman Lembit, if Lucas Orizo sent a report or not, to talking with him about it. I don't know, really. But if you prefer to comment this by mail, it's okay for me. Thank you very much.
No, I'll ask Linda, can you check and let Ariadne know, please, if Luca has done a report or not? That would be very helpful. So I'm going to ask.
Not yet.
Yeah, thank you.
Not
because
yet.
It'll
Okay.
come in. Not yet. Okay, it hasn't been received yet. There you go. There's the answer. So thank you. Thanks for very, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, I've as I said before, I've closed a slight problem that was in the system about Peter Mark Beer and so on, Peter Moore Mark Beer. So things are going to be a little bit more efficient in a technical way from now on, and that's good. I want to make this as simple for you as I can, at the same time as being completely in line with the processes that we have. Anything else before I go to the 3 points? Okay. So first point, remember, 6 to 8 December, that's going to be our next and final digital sitting for the year. 1700 on the 6th. I know some colleagues can't make it as well. Starting at 1700 on the 6th. Even if you can only be there for a short time, please vote. I'm asking you, please, to vote. Very important that you do vote on the matters. Secondly, please do promote Asgardia by looking at what we're putting out and taking content from what we have here and putting that content out to a wider audience, because that's how we get to be successful. And there's so much chat and there's so many exciting things going along that it would be a shame if we don't share all the hard work that we're doing. And I think that that's just, to me at least, a really important point in terms of how Asgardia develops. And then the third thing, I'm very keen to hear from you about initiatives that you think we should have, because at the digital setting, I hope that we will have a guest speaker, but also forward planning for the year ahead. So please share your ideas with me if there are things that you think we should do. That's really important, that we work together towards the future. Those are the big things. There are other things to talk about, always are. Action step, Aliona, please remind me to invite Dan Profir. Good suggestion that's been coming. Dan Profir to talk about his series. I think that series is fantastic, and let's get that out there so that the public can see what we're doing in a very accessible and an informal way. The content is solid, but it's also accessible too. So that's a really good aspect of it. Those are the main things I had. Ariadne?
Yes, I remember the a podcast by the Netherlands with Minister. Oh my God! Do you remember who is him?
Which minister are you talking about? Sorry.
The Minister of Manufacturing.
Oh,
Jacob.
Fernando.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, Jacob Mulder.
Jacob Mulder. Now, sorry. I thought you meant the chair,
yes.
The old chairman. Yeah, Jacob Mulder. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, sorry, because my mind needs
I
to
made a
think
mistake
in
too.
English.
Yeah, sorry, Jacob.
Okay.
Sorry, Fernando.
Yeah. Well, Jacob Mulder has an interview in a podcast in Netherlands language.
Oh, yes.
But I want to know the transcription of that interview. It is possible to get to translate in other languages, because it's interesting. I think it's only a suggestion. Thank you very much.
Let's ask Rebecca if she can find out if there is a way to do that. Don't answer now, but maybe we can find out, Rebecca, if there's a way to have a translation of that very interesting interview. I don't know, maybe there's an AI way of doing it. I don't know. But let's see if we can share that in Spanish, Russian, English. That would be very good. Thank you. Good suggestion. And of course, if Jacob Mulder can do it, then the rest of us can do it as well. I think that we really should make an effort to try. Looking ahead, one other thing I forgot to say. Now, in order to make sure that we don't have any holdups caused by me or anybody else, I'm going to keep putting the legislation through to Peter and Mark and try and get it done earlier. Sometimes I am the holdup, and I apologize for that, but I want to stop being the holdup and try and share this information as it comes along. So thank you very much indeed. Any other business? Ariadne.
Congratulations to the crew in Series 23, because they are on Earth again in a metaphoric line. But wow, I love the idea of Sirius and all the people there. That's amazing. And it's good to remember here in the Parliament the work of them inspire us. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I second that. Big commitment to a fascinating commitment to a big commitment to be isolated for so long. And hopefully that will teach us big insights, and credit to Dr. Asher Bailey, the founder of Asgardia, for investing in that process on our behalf. Very big thank you for Dr. Asher Bailey, who at the end of the day is the vision behind all of this. That's a really important point to remember. It was his idea, and now here we are. Okay, thank you, everyone. Looking ahead then, I need to call you later, Sarah, about the calendar corner. If you're watching this and replay, I'm going to ask Peter and Mark to have a look at the legislation. I have some ideas too, but I welcome the legal perspective in terms of what they think with regard to how we should develop this legislation into 3 great pieces of work. And to you, all of you, please do watch the interview between me and Dan Profair, and we'll ask Dan to come and address us at some time in the near future. Thank you very much, everybody. Got to 29. We always often seem to get to 29. So we'll get down to 14. When we get to 14, I'll shut it down. So please do be very positive about Asgardia to people. Get them involved. Thank you to the team. And I have a few more things to do this evening as well. And I'll be working on Corner's work as item. With that, I think we finished. So, oho, everybody. Thanks very much. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
We can stop the broadcast.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thanks. Hi, TJ.
Oh, everyone.
Bye-bye. TJ, looking